You saw the win. It felt good. A Chiefs victory on Monday night keeps momentum humming and the stadium roaring. But there was one moment that made every fan's stomach drop. In the fourth quarter, Isaiah Pacheco took a hit to his knee, limped off, and didn't return. That play was scrubbed through on social, and the reporting came fast. Team sources and NFL insiders say Pacheco suffered an MCL sprain and is being considered week to week. That's exactly the kind of news you don't want to hear after a tough game. Let's be blunt. Pacheco is one of the Chiefs' key offensive pieces. He led Kansas City that night with 58 rushing yards on 12 carries, and that's not just stats. Those were the kinds of snaps that help control the clock and keep drives moving. Losing that kind of presence, even for a few weeks, forces Reid and the staff to rethink short yardage looks, third down plans, and how they manage the 2-minute and clock-heavy sequences. The report of week to week came via NFL. Insiders and Andy Reid's post-game remarks acknowledged the knee issues the team had to monitor. So the club is treating this carefully. Here's how I want you to think about this first 24 hours as a fan. Be realistic, but not panicked. The week-to-week tag usually means the team will give it time to see how swelling and stability respond over the next few practices and evaluations. It's not a guaranteed long-term absence, but it's also not a green light either. Everything hinges on medical, grading, and how Pacheco's knee behaves under day-to-day testing. For now, the safest assumption is that he's out for at least the next game plan until the team clears him. Before we move on, quick favor. We're trying to hit 6,000 subscribers on this channel to keep bringing fast Chiefs coverage like this. If you haven't yet, click subscribe and smash the like button so more fans see this update. It helps a lot. Now, I need your take, right now. In the comments, type yes if you think Pacheco will miss multiple games, 4+, or no if you think this is a short scare, 1 to 3 weeks. Tell me one sentence why you picked that. I'll read the first 50 replies and pin the most insightful. Finally, what to watch for next. Any updates from the team doctors, practice participation reports later in the week, and comments from Coach Reid or the team PR staff. If Pacheco is limited in practice, that's the clearest red flag that the team is leaning conservative. If he's out of practice altogether for a few days, prepare for a deeper committee approach. All right, let's break this down so every Chiefs fan understands exactly what we're dealing with when the report says MCL sprain and week to week. Those two phrases might sound vague, but they actually tell us a lot if you know how NFL teams handle these injuries. First off, the MCL. That's the medial collateral ligament, the band of tissue on the inside of the knee that stabilizes it from side-to-side movement. When a running back like Pacheco takes a low hit or twists awkwardly while cutting, that ligament can stretch or tear. In football, it's a pretty common injury, especially for backs, receivers, and defensive backs who plant and explode off one leg constantly. Now, there are 3 grades of MCL injuries. Grade 1 is mild, just a small stretch, and sometimes players can return in 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2 means partial tearing, more pain and swelling, usually 2 to 4 weeks minimum. Grade 3 is a full tear, that's serious, and recovery can take over a month or even longer. Since insiders are calling Pacheco week to week, that almost always points to a grade 1 or mild grade 2 sprain. If it were a full tear, they'd already be saying out indefinitely. That gives Chiefs Kingdom a little reason to breathe. It's concerning, but not necessarily season-altering. The real challenge here is how explosive Pacheco's running style is. He's one of those players who runs angry, plants hard, and thrives on lower body power. That kind of intensity puts a lot of demand on a healing knee. So, even if the ligament heals quickly, the team will be cautious to make sure he's not risking a re-aggravation, especially when we're still early enough in the season to think long-term. Andy Reid's staff is usually careful with these cases. Remember, the Chiefs' medical team has a history of giving players an extra week to be safe. They're thinking about January, not just next Sunday. So, don't be shocked if you see Pacheco on the sideline in sweats, even if he feels 80% ready. Let me throw a quick quiz at you. Drop your answer in the comments. True or false, an MCL sprain always requires surgery. I'll give you a hint. Most NFL players don't need it unless there's another ligament involved. But I want to see how many of you actually know the difference. I'll pin a fan who nails the full explanation. All right, here's the real question. Everyone's been asking since the Pacheco news dropped. Who steps up now? The Chiefs have relied on him for that spark, that edge, the kind of physical, no-nonsense running that sets the tone early in games. Without him, the offense doesn't just lose production, it loses attitude. But don't panic. Kansas City has options. When one running back goes down, Andy Reid almost never replaces him with just one guy. He goes committee mode, and that's exactly what we should expect here. You'll probably see a blend of backs, a power option for short yardage, ATT, pass catcher for third downs, and someone to handle screenplays and blitz pickups. That's how Reid keeps defenses guessing and keeps Mahomes comfortable. The big storyline is going to be how the offense adjusts its personality. Pacheco brought downhill aggression. Without him, you might see more of the quick pass rhythm, those little swing passes, bubble screens, and motion looks that act like runs without the pounding between the tackles. That's the kind of creativity Andy Reid and Matt Nagy love to pull out when one of their top guys is sidelined. It's also a chance for the depth chart to prove its worth. Every season, the Chiefs have a few backs who flash in camp or during preseason but barely touch the ball once the regular season hits. Now, those guys have the perfect opportunity to make the most of real snaps. Sometimes, that's how breakout stories happen in Kansas City. A player steps in for 2 or 3 weeks, nails the details, and suddenly carves out a role even when the starter returns. And let's be honest, with Mahomes running the show, no one's writing off this offense because of a single injury. The Chiefs can adapt. They can use the jet motion game, more two tight end looks, or just lean harder on short passing to spread defenses thin. The trick is staying balanced enough so defenses don't start dropping 8 and daring Mahomes to throw every down. All right, here's your turn. Comment below with your pick. If you had to hand the ball off next Sunday, who are you giving it to? Drop one name and tell me why. I'll highlight the most convincing takes in our next breakdown. Now that we know Pacheco's likely out short-term, let's talk about what this means on the field, not just in theory. How do the Chiefs adapt when their lead back, the energy guy, isn't taking snaps? First, expect Andy Reid to lean on Mahomes' arm even more, but in smart ways. When a team loses a reliable rusher, the easiest trap is to overcompensate with deep passing. That's not what the Chiefs do. Instead, they'll probably expand their short passing game using screens, quick outs, and motion-based plays that act like runs. Reid's always been great at turning high-percentage throws into controlled clock management. Without Pacheco, I'd also expect more RPO, run-pass option calls. It's a clever way to disguise what's missing in the ground game. Mahomes reads the defense pre-snap. If linebackers cheat inside, he swings the ball out wide. If they stay back, he can hand off or take a quick slant route. It keeps rhythm, even without that downhill running threat. The next opponent is probably circling this weakness already. Defensive coordinators know the Chiefs' offense runs best when there's balance. Without that pounding presence, they'll likely rush lighter, drop more defenders into coverage, and challenge Kansas City to run the ball with whoever's next up. This is where offensive line discipline and creative play design will really matter. Expect to see Reed dial up some trick formations or unusual motions just to keep defenses honest. And don't forget about the red zone. That's where Pacheco's absence could really sting. He's been the go-to in those bruising inside 5-yard situations. So, Reed might compensate by using tight ends more. Maybe more jump balls, quick rollouts, or even Mahomes scrambling a bit more often. Chiefs fans know he's capable of magic in those tight windows. Let me ask you, if you were calling the plays next week, what would you do differently? Would you run more screens to the backs, or spread it out and throw early? Drop your vote in the comments. Screens or spread it out? Let's see where Chiefs Kingdom stands. All right, Chiefs Kingdom. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Pacheco's MCL sprain isn't ideal, no question. Losing your lead back, even for a few weeks, can rattle a team. But here's the thing, this isn't the end of the world for Kansas City. The Chiefs have depth, creativity, and a quarterback who can elevate everyone around him. First, the playoff outlook. Losing Pacheco short-term doesn't derail the season. If the team manages snaps carefully, leans on Mahomes' versatility, and keeps the defense off balance, they can stay on top of their division. Remember, it's about momentum and execution. Every snap matters, but a week-to-week injury is far from a season-defining catastrophe. Next, think about roster depth and opportunity. This is a chance for backup, backs to shine, for tight ends and wide receivers to get more touches, and for the offensive line to step up in crunch moments. Fans will see players we didn't expect to see in high-leverage situations. That's exciting. Sometimes these small shifts create breakout stars and surprise contributors. Now, from a fan perspective, here's the takeaways. Stay informed, stay patient, and stay vocal in support of the team. Engage with updates, follow practice reports, and keep commenting. It actually matters. We're building a community where Chiefs fans can talk strategy, debate predictions, and react together. Your interaction here directly shapes how these stories unfold on this channel. Speaking of which, before we wrap up, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button. Our goal is 6,000 subscribers, and each one of you helps keep the channel running and brings the fastest Chiefs updates to every fan who wants them. Don't just watch, join the team of fans. Talking about every injury, every play, every win. And of course, I want your take in the comments. What's your bold prediction with Pacheco out? Are we seeing a short-term shakeup that the backups can handle? Or will this force Reed to adapt in ways we haven't imagined? Drop your optimistic or worried vote in comments too. I'll pin the most insightful ones and highlight them next week. Finally, this story isn't over. Injuries happen, but the Chiefs have proven time and again that they adapt, overcome, and thrive. The next few weeks will test them, but one thing is certain. Fans like you keep the team's energy alive. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and as always, let's go Chiefs.